A lion does not need a warning before it attacks. Only a single moment when prey loses rhythm. It applies pressure, cuts off escape routes, and turns the chase into a test of survival. Against other predators, its presence becomes a declaration of dominance across the grasslands. But is there any rival bold enough to stand in the path of the king of the savannah? Across the natural world, the cat family stands among the most formidable predators. They possess stealth, sharp claws, and a precise ambush instinct. But lions are different, as they do not rely solely on individual strength. They are the only big cats that live in groups, capable of turning alliances into a strategic advantage. This collective power places lions in a unique position within the wild. If the lion is a symbol of power, then the rhinoceros stands as an armored fortress of the grasslands. An adult can weigh over 3,000 pounds, equipped with thick skin and forward horns that make any opponent cautious at close range. Although its vision is limited, the rhinoceros relies on highly developed smell and hearing, allowing it to detect danger before distance becomes a disadvantage. For that reason, lions rarely choose to confront a fully grown rhinoceros. A sudden turn of the body, a quick change of direction, or a forward charge with horns reaching nearly 3 feet is often enough to force a predator to withdraw. With the ability to accelerate to nearly 30 miles per hour over short distances, the rhinoceros turns any miscalculation into significant risk. When it comes to a calf, an opportunity only appears if the protective distance is broken. A pride of lions may spread out, applying pressure from multiple directions to widen the gap between mother and young. If the calf falls out of sync and lags behind, the advantage begins to shift toward the hunting group. Even so, success remains extremely rare, under 5% in these exceptional situations. But when it does occur, the large energy gain can sustain the lions for several days. In this environment, survival is not always about victory, but about knowing when to step back before a formidable opponent. Elephants are symbols of strength, memory, and family unity. An adult can weigh more than 10,000 pounds, with a flexible trunk, broad ears, and a powerful ability to protect the herd. Against such strength, lions do not choose direct confrontation, but wait for an opening in the formation. The hunt usually begins only when a calf, or an old and weakened individual, becomes separated from the herd's protection. Lions move low through the grass, circling from different directions, and applying pressure to disrupt movement. They do not rush in, but steadily close the distance, forcing the target into confusion before the elephant herd can turn back. In the stillness of night, even one small misstep can place a young elephant in danger. As the dark, golden shapes draw closer, the savanna seems to hold its breath. The small individual becomes isolated, while the lion pride uses every moment to maintain its advantage. Hunting elephants is a severe test of timing. If successful, the pride gains a large source of energy for several days. But such an opportunity is extremely rare, because even one small mistake can change the direction of the hunt. In the heart of the savanna, the African buffalo stands like a moving, living fortress. With wide, curved horns, thick skin, and a solid body weighing around 1,500 pounds, it is one of the most dangerous prey animals for lions. In some areas, buffalo can make up more than 1/3 of a lion's diet, especially among adult male lions. Unlike prey animals whose formations break apart easily, buffalo have a powerful herd spirit. When facing danger, they tighten their formation, shield weaker individuals in the center, and point their horns outward like a living defensive wall. This unity forces the lion pride to avoid direct confrontation. They move low through the grass, circle from multiple directions, and patiently wait for one individual to fall out of rhythm. The hunting moment truly opens only when the target separates from the herd's protection. At short range, a lion can burst forward at around 35 miles per hour, closing in quickly to gain an advantage before the buffalo can return to formation. But every step carries risk, because one strong reaction from the buffalo can shift the direction of the hunt. In nature, buffalo are an energy-rich reward, but never a safe choice. A lion hunt often succeeds less than 30% of the time, and buffalo only truly lose their advantage when separated from the herd or pushed into unfavorable terrain. This proves that a lion's strength is fearsome, but the unity of the buffalo is the final wall. In the wild, hyenas are not simply scavengers, but resilient and capable hunters. With a bite force reaching around 1,000 pounds per square inch, they can process tough portions of an animal remains that many other species leave behind. Yet, what makes them formidable rivals to lions is not just jaw strength, but patience, numbers, and an ability to read situations. Across the savanna, the relationship between the two resembles a tense game of strategy. When a young lion becomes separated from its group, hyenas often track from a distance, observing every reaction. They move in arcs, spread across multiple angles and apply steady pressure, forcing the lion to constantly adjust and maintain safe space. In these moments, the composure of the so-called ruler of the plains is tested most clearly. The tension intensifies when hyenas detect that a lion has just secured a meal. If only lionesses are present, the encounter may stretch into a prolonged standoff. But when a male lion arrives, the balance often shifts quickly. With explosive power and short bursts of speed, reaching about 35 miles per hour, he can surge into openings between the formation, disrupt the advancing rhythm of the hyenas, and secure what remains of the meal. Hyenas continually challenge the boundaries of a lion's authority. But in nature, dominance is never a fixed gift. It is a position that must be reinforced day after day. Across the plains of East and Southern Africa, African wild dogs are among the most efficient hunters of the savanna. Their bodies weigh only around 80 pounds, but large radar-like ears and long legs help them stay connected as the pack spreads out across many miles. A hunt can reach a success rate of more than 60%, because each individual understands exactly where it belongs within the formation. That efficiency makes it impossible for lions to see them as mere passers-by. Both species hunt antelope, young zebras, and many small hoofed animals, so every prey animal on the savanna can become the starting point of conflict. When wild dogs spread out around a feeding area, lions often respond to defend territory and food resources. The atmosphere grows heavy with tension when a male lion weighing around 420 pounds decides to end the disturbance. Without hesitation, he surges forward with weight and authority, disrupting the movement rhythm of the opposing pack. In that moment, order is re-established. The lion does not pursue for food, but to control territory and reduce competitive pressure around his resources. When the wild dog pack is forced to withdraw, quiet returns to the grassland. On the savanna, power is not only about securing prey, but also about protecting the space needed to survive. In nature, leopards also belong to the big cat group, but their greatest difference from lions is their solitary lifestyle. Weighing more than 100 pounds, a leopard relies on speed, reflexes, and masterful climbing ability to survive within high-pressure territories. It can pull prey onto branches more than 20 feet above the ground, turning the treetops into a temporary place to store energy. But when lions appear, that advantage is no longer absolute. Lions and leopards rarely live in peace. They compete for food, territory, and space to raise their young. Leopards can pose a threat to lion cubs, while lions often view leopards as rivals that must be pushed away from important areas. When a lion detects a leopard, the encounter usually unfolds very quickly. The leopard rarely faces it directly. It accelerates, changes direction sharply, and tries to climb higher to maintain a safe distance. Within seconds, the spotted body can disappear among the branches, where claws and balance become its final layer of defense. But even in the trees, the leopard is not completely safe. Young lions sometimes attempt to climb up and contest food hidden above. If surrounded by the pride, the leopard usually waits for an opening and withdraws. This is the line between the power of the group and the art of solitary survival. A single movement on the ice, and the encounter begins almost instantly. The polar bear is not only powerful, but remarkably persistent as a hunter. Once it aligns itself in the right position, the target is often forced into a critical test of survival. In the Arctic wild, even the slightest delay can change everything. So when that white giant truly makes its move, who can still slip away in time? The polar bear is the largest land predator still in existence. An adult can weigh around 1,000 pounds during peak energy storage. Its dense fur, insulating fat layer, and heat-absorbing skin allow it to withstand the harsh Arctic winds. Wide paws distribute its weight across thin ice, while also supporting long swims through frigid waters. Across that vast white realm, every step reveals a truth. Survival demands not only strength, but complete adaptation. Seals are one of the most important sources of survival for the polar bear. They carry a thick, energy-rich layer of fat, helping the Arctic predator maintain strength through long periods with little food. On the ice, seals may appear slow, but underwater, they are fast, flexible, and able to turn even a narrow crack into a safe escape route. At a breathing hole, the polar bear becomes almost like a silent shadow. With favorable wind, it can detect scent from about 20 miles away, lie low on the ice, and wait for more than 6 hours without moving. When the seal rises for air, the burst of action happens instantly. The bear lunges forward, driving its full weight onto a narrow point on the ice, turning hours of patience into a sudden, precise, close-range move. When seals rest on drifting ice, the polar bear's hunt becomes a test of distance and patience. The bear lowers its body, circles with the wind, and lets its translucent fur blend into the icy background. Its wide paws help each step land more softly on the snow. If the seal detects it too early, the chance disappears into the cold water. But if the distance is close enough, a short burst of speed can decide everything in seconds. Even then, success is never easy. The polar bear's seal hunting success rate is often below 20%. In the Arctic, survival belongs to the one that knows how to wait for the right moment. Under the pale light of the polar summer, the sea does not open into broad water, but is divided by ice into narrow breathing gaps. For beluga whales, these openings become lifelines when the ice closes in. An adult weighs under 3,000 pounds, protected by a fat layer up to about 5 inches thick. But when there are fewer places to surface for air, even intelligence and deep-diving ability have limits. Hidden behind the snow, the polar bear stays motionless like a rock. It does not pursue underwater, where the beluga is faster and more agile. Instead, it chooses a position near the breathing gap, reading the wind, the water's surface, and the faint movements beneath the ice. When the beluga surfaces, the bear drives its full weight onto the slippery ice edge, using powerful pulling strength to gain an advantage against the cold water. In tide-affected areas, water levels can shift by about 6 feet, constantly changing the distance between predator and prey. Many approaches may pass without result, but the polar bear keeps adjusting its position with patience and its ability to read the rhythm of the ocean. This encounter shows that success does not come from haste, but from patience and precise timing. Across the wind-swept tundra, caribou emerge as resilient nomads of the north. During migrations that stretch hundreds to thousands of miles, they can reach bursts of speed up to 50 miles per hour across open ground. Their remarkable endurance and disciplined herd structure serve as a natural defense, allowing them to persist for millions of years against constant threats. Hunting caribou is not a typical choice. The polar bear's heavy build makes it difficult to sustain a long chase. Instead, it waits for a specific situation: a favorable wind, soft ground, shallow water edges, or an individual that is young, vulnerable, or slightly out of sync with the herd. When the opportunity appears, the polar bear launches forward, reaching speeds up to 25 miles per hour. The target is quickly approached and isolated. If an adult caribou is driven into muddy ground or still water, its speed advantage begins to fade. The bear's strength becomes a clear pressure. The encounter unfolds quickly, tense, then fades into drifting dust and cold wind. The reward for this adaptation is a valuable source of nutrition, helping the bear build thick fat reserves before the harsh winter returns. At the edge of the frozen world, every calorie carries survival value, and even the Arctic's largest predator must compete to hold its advantage. The polar bear lives alone, without fixed territory, yet still competes around food sources and mating opportunities. When sea ice breaks up early, the window to hunt seals narrows, turning ice edges and leftover food sources into critical survival hotspots. Conflict begins when safe distance is broken. Two bears move in slowly, signaling through sound and body language, testing each other before deciding whether to press forward or step back. Many encounters end in pushing contests and endurance trials, because even a minor injury in this environment can carry a heavy cost. The one that yields often loses access to food or reproductive advantage. For a mother with cubs, the pressure is even greater. Females tend to avoid males, as cubs may be at risk if paths cross. When danger approaches, the goal is not to win, but to hold just long enough to guide the young away from risk. In that frozen realm, survival does not belong to the most aggressive, but to the one that endures the longest. Along coastal ice fields, walruses represent one of the greatest challenges for the polar bear. An adult can weigh over 3,000 pounds, with tusks exceeding 3 feet and thick skin that reduces the impact of any collision. This is not a target for brute force, but a problem of strategy in a harsh environment. The polar bear rarely confronts a healthy adult walrus head-on. Instead, it watches the edges of the haul-out, where dense groups can become unstable when startled. Using the wind, it moves in quietly, then suddenly accelerates to apply pressure on the entire group. Within seconds, a chain reaction spreads. Massive bodies shift toward the water, the formation opens, and a younger, weaker, or slower individual may become separated from the group's protection. Even when an opportunity appears, the outcome is never certain. Walruses have weight, long tusks, and a clear advantage once they reach the water. If the timing is off, the polar bear must pull back to avoid wasting energy. But if it succeeds, the reward is a valuable source of fat, providing around 150,000 calories, a rare reserve of energy in a frozen world where every decision carries a physical cost. In late summer, when seal-breathing holes disappear and familiar prey is nearly gone, every alternative food source becomes valuable. On land, the polar bear begins to rely on smaller opportunities to extend survival. In shallow streams just a few feet deep, salmon are forced to expose themselves as they surge upstream. The bear stands still for long periods, keeping its eyes on the water, then sweeps down at the exact moment the fish breaks the surface. The reward is far smaller than a seal, but it still provides protein and fat during a time of energy shortage. Higher along coastal cliffs, seabird eggs become another supplemental source. Research in the Arctic shows that polar bears are increasingly turning to bird nests in some regions as the ice season shortens, though this food is far less energy-rich than seal fat. At this stage, survival is no longer measured by a single major hunt. It is extended through patience, through small opportunities, and through the ability to endure until the ice returns. The ground trembles as the grizzly bear begins its powerful advance. Each step presses down with the weight of a dominant predator of the wilderness. As it accelerates, the prey loses its rhythm in an instant. But in the wild, not every rival gives way so easily. So who can truly stand firm against the remarkable strength of the grizzly bear? The grizzly bear stands as a symbol of strength in the North American wilderness. It lives among deep forests, cold rivers, and harsh, snow-covered mountains. That strength comes not only from muscle, but also from highly refined senses. It reads the environment, remembers space, and responds with precision. In the wild, the grizzly bear shows that true power always depends on distance and boundaries. In North America, encounters between the grizzly bear and wolves highlight the contrast between solitary strength and pack strategy. When a wolf pack has just completed an energy-demanding hunt, the grizzly arrives with its massive frame and the power to move heavy obstacles. It steps into the area, turning the pack's effort into a vital source of energy for its own survival. Faced with this challenge, the wolves respond with harassment tactics, moving in from multiple directions to test the patience of the larger animal. The grizzly, however, often holds a central position, using its size and presence to assert control. In the harsh cold, every calorie matters, and the bear rarely yields. In many cases, its persistence leads the wolves to withdraw. With a puma, the tension takes on a different tone. This large cat is naturally elusive and tends to avoid direct encounters. Yet, when young are nearby, it may remain in place to protect them. It gives warning signals, moves with agility, and maintains a careful distance, causing the grizzly to slow its approach. The moment reflects a quiet but intense balance between a strong protective instinct and the presence of a dominant predator. In the wild, peace is a rare luxury maintained by strict rules of rank. The grizzly bear, the uncrowned king of the North American forest, spends its life defending the valleys it claims as its own. When two adults unexpectedly meet on the same trail, the deep wilderness leaves little room for compromise. Here, courage and will determine who truly controls the land. An encounter within the same species does not begin with action, but with psychological pressure from deep, low growls. When those warnings are ignored, the conflict erupts with an impact force of around 3,000 pounds. This is not simply a contest of muscle, but nature's way of defining power. Every lunge and every collision carries the weight of an order that has existed for thousands of years. For a mother bear protecting the next generation, the survival instinct becomes stronger than ever. It does not need a long chase. Instead, the mother bear uses overwhelming presence to push an intruder away from the safe zone around her young. Remarkable courage becomes its sharpest tool for restoring calm. In the North American forest, the grizzly bear's strength is not only about expanding territory, but also about preserving life for the future. From late summer in Alaska, the rivers grow thick with salmon returning from the sea. After a journey of more than 1,000 miles, they gather at waterfalls, shallow stretches, and narrow bends, creating a vital feeding season for grizzly bears. This is the period of hyperphagia, when an adult can consume up to around 90 pounds of food per day to build fat for the cold season. At the edge of a waterfall, the bear does not need to chase. It chooses a spot where the current forces salmon upward, keeps its eyes on the water, and seizes the moment with a short, clean, and precise movement. What makes it formidable is not haste, but the way it reads timing, conserves energy, and turns each catch into a survival advantage. As water levels change late in the season, the bear moves down to lower stretches of the river to feed more steadily. The salmon nourish the bear, while the bear's tracks carry nutrients back toward the forest edge, completing a quiet cycle of Alaska. In that world, every salmon's journey upstream is not only a path of reproduction, but also nature's silent way of sustaining life for the entire forest behind it. Under the bright sun of the taiga forest, the grizzly bear appears as a massive force, yet far from slow. With a weight of around 800 pounds, it can still burst to speeds of about 35 miles per hour over short distances, enough to create intense pressure on herds of hoofed animals moving through the open woodland. Deer are highly alert prey, with keen senses of smell and hearing that detect even subtle changes in their surroundings. Because of this, the grizzly bear never moves directly into detection range. It quietly travels against the wind to conceal its scent, slipping through low brush and steadily closing the distance with the patience of an experienced ambush hunter. When the decisive moment arrives, a sudden surge breaks the stillness. The grizzly bear does not chase chaos. It uses awareness to single out an individual that falls out of rhythm. With claws reaching about 4 inches in length and powerful muscles built around its massive shoulders, it does not rely on a prolonged pursuit. A single misstep by the prey on uneven ground is enough for the balance to shift. The hunt concludes quickly, providing the energy needed for the demanding season ahead. In the deep wilderness, strength is only the beginning. Mastering timing is the most formidable instinct of all. The moose is one of the largest and most majestic hoofed animals of the northern forests. An adult male can weigh more than 1,000 pounds, carrying antlers that spread like a crown across wetlands, cold rivers, and conifer forests. Though it often lives alone, this animal has long legs, great endurance, and a powerful response when pushed into a difficult position. Yet the balance of the deep wilderness is always challenged by the grizzly bear, a true strategist of the wild. This predator does not rely only on raw strength, but also knows how to turn nature into an ally. The grizzly patiently reads the terrain, quietly pressuring its target toward muddy areas or deeper water, where the moose loses its advantage in speed and stability on long legs. When the right moment arrives, the gray-furred giant surges forward, breaking through the water's surface with explosive force. With a jaw capable of producing more than 1,000 pounds per square inch, it can gain control of the target. This is not only a clash between two massive bodies, but a test of momentum, turning cold water into a dangerous trap for any individual that falls out of rhythm. In the north, survival does not belong to the largest, but to the one that turns nature into its ally. Across open country, herds of elk move in small groups through the valley. Each adult can weigh around 700 pounds, strong enough to make any predator cautious. But for the grizzly bear, strength has never been its only weapon. It does not rush in. The grizzly follows the trail, studies the rhythm of movement, and waits for the terrain to become an advantage. When an elk is pressured near the water's edge, the distance begins to close. This is a familiar hunting pattern for the grizzly, pushing its opponent into a place where speed is limited. The cold river makes each step heavier, while slippery mud turns every change of direction into a risk. The pace of the encounter rises quickly. The grizzly uses its body weight and endurance to maintain pressure, forcing the elk to spend energy with every step backward. A successful elk hunt can provide more than 100,000 calories, enough to sustain the bear for many days. The unused portion is often covered with soil, grass, or fallen branches, both to save it for a return and to reduce scent that may attract others. In nature, survival is not only about taking an opportunity, it is also about keeping that opportunity long enough to endure the harsh days ahead. The eagle appears, and the sky instantly shifts its rhythm. From a commanding height, it locks onto the target and dives with striking precision. Powerful wings, sharp talons, and rapid reflexes narrow every possible escape. Within just a few brief seconds, the balance of the animal world is completely altered. This is not only a hunt, but a declaration of dominance over the sky. The eagle is not the largest bird in the sky, yet it stands among the most formidable aerial hunters. From the Rocky Mountains of North America to the African savannas and the forests of Eurasia, it commands the air through sharp vision, speed, and an ability to read the terrain. Its true advantage lies not only in powerful talons or a forceful dive, but in choosing the exact moment to act. In the wild, that timing is what defines the authority of a ruler of the skies. In the wild, the fox is known as a clever lone traveler, relying on cunning to endure harsh winters. With sharp hearing and light, precise steps, it becomes a master of sudden ambush. Yet today, that cunning meets a predator of a different level. With vision up to 5 times sharper than a human's, the eagle patiently waits until the fox completes its hunt. The moment the prey rests in the fox's jaws, a shadow drops from the sky. Talons close, and the hard-earned catch is lifted off the ground before the fox can react. The fox immediately backs away, as instinct recognizes that holding on would only raise the risk. As winter sets in, the balance of survival can shift within seconds. One moment, the fox is the hunter. The next, it becomes a target against the open snow. In a landscape that reveals every movement, the eagle from above quickly locks onto the opportunity. In that instant, the ground predator is pushed into the role of the pursued. In the high mountain terrain of the Italian Alps, the ibex is a master of the cliffs. With split hooves and soft, gripping pads, it can stand securely on ledges as narrow as about 2 inches, places most predators cannot reach. An adult, weighing several hundred pounds, becomes a powerful presence, making direct confrontation rarely worth the risk. Yet on these steep slopes, opportunity sometimes appears in young individuals that drift away from the group. A single delayed moment is enough for the golden eagle to act. It does not rely on raw strength. Instead, it uses speed, precision, and the steep terrain itself to force the prey off balance. Once the target loses footing near the edge, the mountainside completes the encounter. For a less experienced eagle, this remains a demanding challenge. A slight error in approach, a missed grip, and every advantage can vanish against the sheer rock face. On that mountainside, gravity itself can become the deciding force. Winter is always a harsh test for those who rule the skies. As the ground freezes and food becomes scarce, even eagles can turn into direct rivals against their own kind or other eagles competing within the same hunting range. In a rare encounter, a sea eagle with a wingspan of over 8 feet faces a golden eagle across the frozen landscape. One holds the advantage in size and weight, while the other stands out with agility and aerial control. There are no sudden, high-speed dives this time. Instead, a tense standoff unfolds, as both repeatedly close in, extend their talons, then break away, probing each other's limits in the biting wind. Pressure builds with every circling pass. A single mistimed moment, a slight misjudgment in distance, is enough to shift the balance. In the end, the sea eagle chooses to withdraw. In such a harsh environment, the cost of a mistake can outweigh any reward, and the one that survives the winter is not always the one that holds ground, but the one that knows when to step away. The wolf is a symbol of endurance, resilience, and a rare level of pack discipline in the wild. When maintaining formation, it becomes a highly effective pursuit hunter, coordinating movements, splitting directions, and sustaining pressure over long distances. But when an individual is separated from the pack, its greatest advantage begins to fade. From above, the eagle tracks movement below and waits for the precise moment to close in. Wolves are not a typical target, but a lone individual can still face serious risk. Using the element of surprise, the eagle descends at speeds of around 70 miles per hour, creating intense pressure within just a few brief seconds. By the time the threat is recognized, the wolf often has very little time to react. In other situations, the eagle's key advantage lies in its ability to control from above. A well-timed strike combined with curved talons allows it to pin down the target and significantly limit its movement. Even a sharp and determined species like the coyote can struggle to break free once fully secured. In nature, the one who controls distance and timing is often the one who holds the final advantage. Within the dense canopy, monkeys embody agility. Weighing under 10 pounds and mastering three-dimensional space, they move through tangled branches like shadows, seemingly untouchable when avoiding danger. Yet this forest also sustains an opposing predator. The harpy eagle, a phantom of the upper canopy, waits patiently for a moment of distraction. When one individual drifts away from the group while feeding, it suddenly dives, cutting through narrow gaps between branches. With a wingspan of about 6.5 feet and talons reaching roughly 5 inches, the harpy eagle navigates dense rainforest space with remarkable control. A precise grab is enough to pull the target from a branch in an instant. A successful hunt can provide food for the nest for several days. That is how the eagle asserts its role as a top predator, even within the realm of master climbers. In the natural world, snakes are among the most unpredictable prey. They move with almost no sound, concealed like a living trap among dry grass and sun-warmed rocks. With highly venomous species such as cobras or mambas, a single misjudged approach can turn a hunt into a test of survival. Facing that danger are predators seemingly built for this challenge, such as the brown snake eagle and the crested serpent eagle. When hunting venomous snakes, their legs are covered in thick, armor-like scales that help reduce risk from rapid counterstrikes. There is no extended chase, just a few seconds of precise adjustment, followed by a swift closing of talons to secure control. Along coastal areas and river mouths, the white-bellied sea eagle takes advantage of a different opportunity when sea snakes must surface for air or rest briefly on warm rocks. In that short window, talons delivering gripping force of around 400 pounds per square inch lock onto a vulnerable point and remove any chance of escape. In this encounter, the advantage does not belong to the stronger side, but to the one that reads timing and distance with precision. The rabbit is one of the most fragile prey on open grasslands, yet also a master of reflex. At the first sign of danger, it can burst to speeds of around 45 miles per hour, constantly changing direction with long leaps to disrupt pursuit. That speed is its first line of defense, but it is not always enough against eyes from above. From a favorable height, the eagle observes every movement on the ground. When the target enters range, it descends at remarkable speed. The decisive moment is not about strength, but about timing, angle of approach, and the ability to secure the target before it can shift direction. A delay of even a fraction of a second can mean a lost opportunity. With a success rate below 30%, each dive becomes a test between speed and reflex. Not every attempt brings a result, but those repeated efforts help sustain the balance of the ecosystem. The lion ends the encounter with the authority of the savanna's ruler. Every step carries instinct, strategy, and patience. In nature, strength becomes truly formidable only when paired with perfect timing. If you enjoy stories of survival, be sure to like and subscribe for more. Beneath the Fading Sunset,